Now, as far as the beginning of the year, that was very tragic for those families in the Dangri village in Rajouri, where back-to-back killings for 2 days that were reported of almost 6 people, including 2 minors. And now what is being said, the killers have now been caught on camera. What can be seen on the pictures there on your television screens, where 2 armed persons resembling perpetrators behind the killing of at least 7 civilians in Rajouri 2 weeks ago were seen in the Narna Bambal village of the district, and this is from inside the house where apparently they were having their meals. Now what is being said, as we've been speaking to many of those eyewitnesses as well, Pradeep, because they were dressed up in army fatigues. And this is how they had launched their operation to identify those people on the basis of their Aadhaar cards, and then started with the indiscriminate firing.
Yes, the first time these 2 Dangri killers have been caught on camera. They had gone to one of the village, and there they entered inside one of the house on gunpoint. They had meal there, and that was the time when the picture was clicked. And since then, the security forces have launched operation. It was on 1st of January at about 7 p.m. These 2 terrorists who were wearing combat fatigue, they came to Dangri village. They opened fire, killing Deepak and injuring his brother, who later succumbed to injuries. After that, they entered another house where they asked for Aadhaar card. After ascertaining their identity, religious identity, they killed them too. Father and son were killed, and then later on they went to the other house. So 7 people were killed because next day it triggered explosion also, in which 2 children also died, and 12 others were injured. So these terrorists are on run. Several operations are being conducted in different parts of Rajouri, Riyasi, as well as in Poonch district. And now the picture has appeared. This is a very healthy sign so far as the security operations are concerned, because till date nobody had an idea where these terrorists had vanished, because nobody was able to give them any kind of a clue. But now it appears that these terrorists are on run. They are trying to hide in the border belt of Rajouri and Riyasi, where actually this picture was clicked. This is called Narla Bambal village, where this picture was clicked. And so this is a big input for so far as the security agencies are concerned. And since then, the search operation has been intensified. 3-pronged operation has been launched in that area. Army, paramilitary force personnel, as well as the Jammu and Kashmir police has launched operation in that area. So they are sure that very soon they will be able to pin them down, because these 2 terrorists were here on a killing spree. Their idea was, one, to trigger exodus. Second, they wanted to trigger communal backlash. They wanted to create a divide between the Hindus and Muslims. They thought that by targeting Hindus, there will be a backlash, and the Muslims will be targeted by the Hindus. But people of Rajouri, they have given a befitting response by ensuring that no bullet is going to tear apart that fabric of composite culture that exists there in that border belt of Poonch and Rajouri. And so they didn't succeed that way in their mission. But yes, 7 precious lives were lost, which included 2 children also, one of them 4-year-old boy, another 16-year-old minor girl, and they also died in an explosion that was triggered by them, and next day in the same area. So this was for the first time we saw that the booby trap was laid in the house of the victim. That has never ever happened in the 32 years of terrorism in Kashmir Valley. But now the new strategy is being adopted by them. Right now the search operation is on. Here in this picture you can see these 2 people. They are sitting in one of the house. They barged inside the house and they asked for the meal. They were having the meal. That was the time when someone has clicked a picture. And it's a very important...
Stay on with us, Pradeep. Former DGP SP Vaid is also joining us on the phone line. Mr. Vaid, what do you make of this? You know, search is certainly on. The hunt is on part of our forces to look for these terrorists who were behind the Dastadli Dhangri village attack. Remember, it took place on the 1st and the 2nd. First is when they singled out Hindus living in that area by identifying them through their ID cards. The next day, one of the victims was, his residence was in fact blown up and 2 children lost their lives in the ID explosion. The hunt is on, but these men have now been spotted in these CCTV visuals, in these visuals that are now coming to light from Narla Bambal village of the district. They are looking like the perpetrators of the Dangri village crime.
Yes, it is a crucial lead. I think the CCTV footage and the investigating agencies who are involved, both J&K police and NIA, should pursue these leads. And this generally gives an idea of a general area of that district where these suspected terrorists are hiding. And I think I would again suggest that involve the local people. They are very, very helpful to the investigating agencies and those involved in the manhunt. The local people and VDC members would be crucial help. And I think pursue these leads and interrogate also people who could be possibly providing food, shelter, or help that could give further leads. I think I'm sure we will be able to track them down.
Absolutely, sir, because that is the assurance also that has been given by the Union Home Minister while he was there in Jammu and had a phone conversation with the victims there of the families who lost their loved ones in this cowardly killing. Thank you very much, Dr. Vaid, for joining in. We also have Mr. RSN Singh with us, sir. How do you look at the kind of pattern that is now being taken up by terrorists, sir? Because this is like, dressed up in army fatigues, identifying families on the basis of their religion and then killing them, indiscriminate firing. Now the VDCs, the people that have been saying that give us the arms, we'll defend ourselves.
No, that they were wearing army uniforms, that they resorted to deceit. Well, deceit is very much of a... Do you know that in India, the night attacks were never carried out in deference to, the rules of warfare? Night attacks only started, after the Muslim invasions. So deceit is very much. I mean, they can pose as civilians, they can pose as laborers, they can pose as soldiers. Anything that helps them to kill. Just recently, I mean, a day before, in today's newspaper, you read, I mean, how a drug addict was picked up and cut into 8 pieces, and there were 2 Muslim men who sent those, photographs to their handlers in Pakistan to convince them that they are very much part of. They are capable of carrying out jihadi attacks.
And Colonel Singh, this is an old strategy which we saw terrorists often resort to, and once again a repeat of that has been witnessed in the Dangri village attack that took place recently. Thank you for speaking to us. We also have Colonel V.N. Thapar joining us on the phone line. Colonel Thapar, what do you make of this lead? These terrorists who are believed to be behind the Dangri attack, sources suggesting that these visuals that have now been picked up from Jammu itself, these perpetrators very much do resemble the men who were behind the Dangri village attack as well. A big lead, you think?
I think so. It's an excellent break, and we have to wait till we get hold of them, because even if we send this kind of evidence to Pakistan from where they originate, they're not going to accept anything. They'll say, they will come with their normal excuse that these are not from here. So it's not going to help. But if we kind of eliminate them or finish them off in some kind of a action, which is likely to happen when we search and destroy them, then we'll get some concrete evidence that here are the people who came. Now, presently, we are just doing, as the previous speaker was saying, this will continue because they've got this, they're close to the border, they can come in an open society of ours, they can come anyhow in any guise and kill people and go. My contention is that whenever this kind of a thing happens, then the equal hurt should be inflicted on the Pakistanis proper. No, we should not take it lying down like this. It will continue. It has been continuing for so long.
Sir, the concern was also raised that such kind of targeted killings, often that has been seen in the valley, something like this of a similar nature being witnessed in Jammu, had raised even more concern, especially with the Hindu families there. Thank you very much, Colonel Thapar, for your point of view. Going back to Pradeep on this, because the kind of assurances that have been given by the Union Home Minister and saying that justice will be done in this case, Pradeep, very significant is to identify who these perpetrators were.
Clue so far as that has been received by the security forces. Second is that they had entered in the house of one of the Muslims there in Narla Bambal area. And this picture was clicked by one of the family members, and that's really very important because these people were trying to create a divide between Hindus and Muslims. Here everybody stands with the security forces and they're going to fight unitedly against all these terror-related elements. And Home Minister also made it clear on that day that they are going to cast a 360-degree web so that they are able to wipe out terrorism from that particular area, because there is a conspiracy by Pakistan and Pak proxies that they want to divide Hindus and Muslims by carrying out attacks in twin border district of Poonch and Rajouri. But what is a healthy sign is that
now surfacing, Pradeep, you know, days after the assurances that came in from the Union Home Minister, who himself had a telephonic conversation with the family members of the victims who lost their life to the terror attack in Dhangri village. Very significant development. We're tracking that very closely. Thank you for joining us with all those details.